Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Big Dynasty League, episode 11 of the year, week 10 in review. With me, as always, is the commish, Clyde Randall Waters. All right, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at last week's matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week.
Last week, we had our own Los Pandas Desnudo, owned by the commish, versus Hernandez's pistol offense, the team whose joke is getting old. Commish, what happened? Break it down.
What happened here is core players for Los Panas Desnudos failed to produce anything when they needed to, and Hernandez's pistol offense limped into a win. This was a very deciding win for Hernandez's pistol offense, and that it pretty much gives them a good, solid, finish there for the division. They're still in the race, and they pretty much knocked Los Panas Desnudos out of any possible division talks and or even maybe possibly playoff talks.
Man, that is rough. I mean, I see you did try to go with a zero player.
Yep.
Had he done decently, you could have been a lot closer in this matchup.
Yep.
I mean, at the same time, he didn't exactly try hard to beat you.
No.
He tried to give it away.
He tried.
With his 75% efficiency. I mean, man.
Yep.
Oh,
He tried.
Anything else to break down on this one?
The Julian Edelman injury was huge for me. He got taken out before halftime, didn't get in the rest of the game. Now there's talking he's probably out for 4 to 6 weeks. Had a screw put into his foot. That's
the sound.
Oh, I'm aware. I have the screws on my ankle. But you add that to my already existing injury with Keenan Allen. My receiving core has now been taken out. Without that injury, I think I could have pulled a win off in this game.
I think you're right, based on the averages of Edelman's points and how the Patriots were looking. Moving on, let's take a look at some other matchups this week. Let's take a look at the San Francisco 69ers. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a sex joke versus Calvin. Who? This is what we like to call a beat down. I mean a pounding of almost epic proportions. I mean, man. Defeated by over 100 points, Calvin Who. 69ers, their team is just rocking and rolling. It doesn't seem to matter how many injuries they get. They are able to pull it off. Who's this? I mean, they got Antonio Brown on their team, tore it up with the backup quarterback somehow was Ben Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh and their dirty tricks. Kamish, what do you got on this one?
Well, surprisingly, it's a 100-point victory. Actually, 100.94 points victory for the Niners over Calvin Hu. That's actually only the fourth highest margin of victory win we have in league history.
Oh, wow.
The number one margin of win victory goes to Wayne Enterprises when he took out the Cincinnati Bourbon Barons 195.32 to 55.64 week 3 of this season.
Yes, that was a different day.
That was a margin of victory of 139.68.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this one.
The second most largest margin of victory is when Wayne Enterprises again took out the Bench Dogs 215.62, which I believe is still the highest scored points in the league history, to the Bench Dogs 97.68, 117.94 point margin
Again,
of victory.
we're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one.
I just thought you'd find it interesting that the top two margins of victory ever in the league, you are the losing end of it.
Look, someone has to be involved in this, and it might as well be me.
Well, we'll bring you this week. Your brother filled in. That's what happened. But Calvin Hu has had a very strong last few weeks. Surprising to see how this turned out. His top players and top scorers and Dalton Eifert, well, we're not going to discuss that. Oh, and AJ. Anyways, you got to get your players in the double-digit scoring, and when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your players, 6 of your starters not getting double digits, it's hard to pull off a win that's against a team as dominant as our defending champs, the Niners.
That is very true. Let's see. Moving on to one that was not as close as it probably should have been. The FC Acid Kickers versus the Cincinnati Bourbon Barons. This is a great story of efficiency.
Yes. The Acid Kickers put up a 100% efficiency rating for this game. They could not start a better team than the one they started in Week 10 this year. And surprisingly, I think that's back-to-back weeks with teams that had 100% efficiency
I believe you are correct in that.
Or at least 2 of the last 3 weeks, we've had teams that get 100% efficiency ratings. And this is first. I think our fantasy skills are all starting to hone in here.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for the show. I mean, I'm sure you guys get bored of it to just the two of us talking. If we had a third guy on the show who kept these types of math things in his head,
looked at all the stats for it.
Yeah, like a stat man, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I think we have room for a third person up there.
I mean, I can scoot a little bit. You can scoot a little bit. I mean, we're big guys, but there's room for a guy there. You know what? Maybe next season.
We'll put out a casting call.
Yeah.
I think we should look into that.
Maybe we
so
can do that for next season.
So if you're good with numbers and fantasy football and you have an affection for this league and you wouldn't mind coming on a show weekly, dependably,
reliably, consistently
on this show and help us break down the stats of this crazy, exciting league, the Big Dynasty League, shoot us an email. Find us on Twitter.
Back to the game.
Holler at me on Facebook.
Back to the game.
Snapchat me.
The Bourbon Barons,
Facebook me.
Unfortunately for the score they had, but they were also almost 100% efficient. 98.1 efficiency. That does not bode well for my team. The best I can do is under 100 points. I had a lot of people on bye that I normally play. And some people that apparently have died and will never play.
Oh, plus you lost Sam Bradford in that game.
Yeah, I mean, he went out beginning of the third quarter.
Alfred Morris, this might be the highest scoring game he's had for you yet this season.
Yeah, he sucks.
Cole Beasley, what were your thoughts behind Cole Beasley?
I needed a wide receiver, and as you can see based on my other wide receivers, it wasn't that bad of a decision. So I just went with it, man.
All right.
He had a big week. Thought maybe he'd have one more. Next up, we got Wax On, Wax Off.
Wax on, wax off.
Who was definitely wax off to this week. getting pounded by the Scarlet Pimps.
Pimp Pan came in strong.
Pimp. Wax Hoffman, not even 93 points.
Only a 72.6 proficiency rating. You can't win fantasy football putting up that kind of stat there. You can't do it. And this really hurts Wax on Wax Off, as they're really mounting a good run in what looks to be a possible playoff berth for them. But this is a small, setback here. It keeps them on that fence of whether or not they can finish strong and be in the big Dynasty League playoffs.
The playoffs?
Meanwhile, the Scarlet Pimpernels, the
Pimps,
they're dominant. They're still top of the division. I think they've secured their playoff berth for sure, but
who knows?
Yeah.
All right, we got Wolfgang United versus the Ricky Bobby team. Not a lot to talk about in this one, I don't think. I mean, Wolfgang United pulled off a victory over Ricky Bobby. It seems to be pretty common these days. Anything to add?
Wolfgang United, had a pretty strong game here, I thought. I don't know what's going on with John Brown. Really strong season John Brown's been having. But, they were 0 points this week, bye last week, and then didn't even make it on the field the week before that. So there's something going on there. But yeah, no, it's a solid one for Wolfgang.
All right.
Left 30 points on the bench, though, from Michael Floyd.
That's a lot of points. Last one here was a super close, super tight race between, I think, some of the biggest rivals in the league. Victoria's Secret, former champion, versus Wayne Enterprise, hopeful soon-to-be champion. Don't know if it's going to look like that very much longer. But Wayne Enterprise is pulling off a win. Looking good. The whole winning and stuff. Wayne Enterprises tried to do that, and they did it. Kamish, you got anything to say about this game?
Man, I don't know about you. I felt like something just happened.
I felt like I kind of shut down for a minute.
like a time warp, just
woo!
Like we were somewhere and then something happened and now we're back. Anyways, but I think to me the most surprising part of this matchup was Victoria's Secret left Ben Roethlisberger on her bench. Started Eli Manning. Now that seemed like the safe thing to do.
Okay.
Because Ben's being hurt. He was the backup. But
dirty Steelers tricks. You can't trust anything from Pittsburgh. Everything is awful from there. All the people are awful, untrustworthy. We should build a big wall.
In classic Big Ben fashion, he comes off the bench and breaks another NFL record, being he now has the most passing yards, touchdowns, and whatever for NFL quarterbacks coming off the bench to play. So, Victoria's Secret had been on her bench with 32.66 points. That would have been a 9-point difference over what she had with Eli Manning starting and would have secured the win. But, that's just kind of the luck you have sometimes in fantasy football.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Yep,
but I think when you boil it down, this matchup here, it all comes down to that efficiency rating. And Wayne Enterprises was 95.4% efficient to Victoria's Secret's 89.1%.
And that little bit more efficiency generated a little bit more points. Moving on, let's get to our awards of the week. First up, like it is every week, we're going to start off with the Hershey Milk Dud of the Week, brought to you by Milk Duds, the teeth that'll get stuck, or the candy that gets stuck in your teeth. This week goes out to Willie Sneed.
Willie?
Exactly.
Willie! Oh, Sneed. Oh, I thought it was
Sneeze. Sneed.
No, Sneed. Sneed.
0 points after 2 really great weeks for Wayne Enterprises, causing him a loss. That's gotta stink.
Wayne Enterprises won, didn't
they? Did they win? Oh, yeah, they won.
Remember?
Causing them just a little bit of a victory. Next up, we got the biggest whooping of the week, brought to you by the Whopper, made at Burger King. I got it right this time. This one goes out to the Niners with their destroying 100-point-plus victory over Calvin. Who?
That's what the Niners were saying.
Exactly.
Who?
The 69ers, and yes, that's a sex joke, pounded him. Repeatedly.
Who?
Next up, we got an award we don't always get to give out. The Dollar Shave Club Close Shave of the Week. Brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Don't get destroyed by the big, giant, evil, major razor companies. Use their semi-less evil mail order company.
You've never won this award, have you?
Close shave? No, I've been waiting to win the close shave so I can shave. But it hadn't happened. Anyway, this week it goes to Victoria's Secret versus Wayne Enterprises. That matchup, Wayne Enterprises winning by less than a point. Man, that was a crazy one. Next up, we got the Resurrected Team of the Week. Commish, the Resurrected Team of the Week, brought to you by Lazarus Department Stores. Who is that going to this week?
That goes out to the Acid Kickers with their win over the Cincinnati Bourbon Barons. A 38-point win after a loss last week. Good bounce back, solid performance. And as I've been saying all season long, the Acid Kickers have a young team, and I really think that down the stretch, they could be a force to be reckoned with.
We shall see. Next up, we got the Poopery Poo Poo Team of the Week for when you gotta take a nasty dump, but you don't want people to know about it. Use Poopery. Unfortunately, everyone knows about the stinker plopped down by Wax Hoff. Man, only 92.3 points. A disrespectful under 93 points this week. Loss, possibly taking them out of playoff contention. All around, just a bad week for them.
You were very excited about this one.
I was very excited about this.
All week this week. I just need a couple more points so I don't get the poopery.
I didn't get the poopery. I'm not the worst. He's the worst. That's the way it is. The Proactive Breakout Player of the Week goes to the player that has just a crazy surprise performance. Commish, who's earned that one this week?
This goes out to Jeremy Langford, Chicago running back, filling in for Matt Forte, who's been injured. Started by the Niners. Put up 37.2 points this week. Not bad for a rookie who is filling in some big shoes for Matt Forte while he's out.
Yeah, Matt Forte better dust off the old resume.
Resume.
All right, and that is it for our awards of the week. Let's take a look at this week's Mama Matchup of the Week.
Mama Matchup of the Week.
Who is it this week, Kamish? Who's it gonna be? Drum roll for him here.
Thing's sticking here. Let me look at something here. I believe it's gonna be. I don't know. Dang, I thought that part was done, but apparently
we didn't come up with one.
I think it's going to be the Acid Kickers against the Niners.
Let's do it. Niners versus the Acid Kickers. Commish, break it down.
All right. So, for the matchup of the week, we're going to have Acid Kickers versus the Niners. The Acid Kickers are currently sitting at a 5-7 record, just outside of that playoff cusp. If they can get a big win here against the Niners, bump them up to a 6-7 with some other key losses, the Acid Kickers would be right there in line for a possible shot at a playoff berth. Right there. So let's see here. In franchise history, the Acid Kickers are 4-2 all time against the Niners.
You know, the head coach and owner of the FC Acid Kickers said statistics can be misleading.
He also said there's no love or loss between these two teams.
That's true. And the owner of the 69ers, and yes, that's a sex joke, Ben Wagner, he once said, there are no easy games in this league. Only easy... Whoa.
What?
Nothing. Let's just move on.
Is he talking about the Pimps?
Pimps!
This game is for the bragging rights. That's what he told me. The Niners said.
All right.
This game's for the bragging rights.
All right, so Commish, who do you think's going to get it?
Well, I wrote down Niners, but I'm going with the Acid Kickers.
I'm going with the Niners because I've already submitted my picks. And seems like a lot of work to change them. All right, next up, let's go through the rest of these picks real quick here. We got Calvin who? Who? Versus Hernandez pistol offense. I'm going pistol offense. Who you going with?
Well, I think this is going to be a possibility for a shootout of a matchup. But Calvin Who is 1-2 all time against Hernandez pistol offense. I'm going Hernandez pistol offense.
All right, next up is going to be a big one personally here. This is the Cincinnati Bourbon Barons versus Los Pandas Desnudos.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Bourbon Barons, baby.
Ooh.
We're due. We're due for a win.
Well, I'm going with Los Pandas Desnudos. And in the 3-year history of this rivalry. Ooh, did you see that?
You did. Good job.
Yeah!
I'm proud of you. You said it.
The Cincinnati Bourbon Barons are only 1-4 all time against Los Pandas Desnudos.
We're due. We're due.
So.
Next up, we got the Pimps. The Scarlet Pimps versus the Ricky Bobby team. Do I have to ask him, Mitch? Because I'm going with the Pimps. Do I need to even ask who you're going with?
It's the Pimps.
Going with the Pimps. All right. Next up, we got Victoria's Secret versus Wax On, Wax Off.
Wax on, wax off.
Unless he changes it again, he did lose.
Yeah.
I'm going Victoria's Secret.
I think Wax On, Wax Off is early favorite, but Victoria's Secret's got some serious weapons when they want to be weapons. I'm going to say Victoria's Secret.
All right, and last and least, we got Wolfgang United versus Wayne Enterprises. Commish, what do you got?
Oh, Wayne Enterprises is 3-1 all time against Wolfgang. And with the way that the Brady machine's been rolling, I'm going to say Wayne Enterprises pulls off another win this week.
All right, I'm also going with Wayne Enterprises. And I think that just about does it. Trade deadline coming up.
Trade deadline again, November 25th. It's Wednesday at noon, 12 noon.
That is next
noon.
Wednesday
At
12 noon.
So
that's the 12 in the middle of the day.
Your trade needs to be accepted by 12 noon.
Noon.
It can be processed after, but it has to be accepted
Noon.
on or by November 25th
At noon.
Wednesday. 12 p.m. noon.
All right, and I think we're going to take next week off for Thanksgiving.
Turkey.
Turkey. My favorite holiday of the year. Please spend time with your family. Think about what you're thankful for and what you're grateful for. This is a great country we live in, full of freedom and full of magnificent things to be grateful for, one of which is fantasy football. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest things in the world, fantasy football. We get to participate. So please take some time to remember that and remember who you love. Bye.